One question I got for you, which is quite an interesting point for me, is that a lot of the time, guys who go into fields like dentistry and pharmacy and this and that, they're not your typical kind of business management consultant type guys. So how did that go from like what was it in your mind that kind of made you think more about, management and consultancy, and not why not just open up lots of pharmacies like most of the
And
pharmacies do?
so it's a really good question because I think because I was an accidental pharmacist, so the part of pharmacy I liked most is I always said it was like a puzzle in terms of when you have someone come to the counter and they've got a problem, and you talk to them and you explore and you find what that problem is, and then you actually work together to try and get a solution to it. And that solution is me signposting and fine. That solution is something I've got in terms of a concoction, even better. If I'm honest, that was the only part of pharmacy I enjoyed. The rest of pharmacy was, I just, subhanAllah, Allah blessed me with an offer from Sunderland and I ended up becoming a pharmacist because that was the only thing on the plate. It was not a strategic decision, it was a default position. But that's why I found, especially when I was working with Boots, I gravitated much more towards the business management side, running the store as running the pharmacy.
Yeah.
And Boots at that time, and it's a very different animal now, but Boots at that time was very much around cost saving in terms of if you've got a pharmacist and a pharmacist is reasonably well paid in the shop, get that pharmacist to also be the manager. Why pay a separate manager and a pharmacist? You got two hefty bills.
Yeah.
So they were very much kind of trying to train the pharmacist to also be the manager. I remember reading something once around the average management capabilities of a Boots manager and a manager who was managing Sainsbury's or something along those lines. And the Boots managers were here and the Sainsbury's managers were here. Because these were all pharmacists. And they didn't really want to do the manager. They were reluctant managers. Actually always wanted to go into management. They either worked through the ranks and became managers or they were recruited in because they had MBAs, etc. So their passion was management. Their passion was probably originally pharmacy, and they're to be doing the management side. I didn't have the passion necessarily for pharmacy, but I did gravitate naturally towards the business and the management side. So actually, I think that's why that happened for me. And so then naturally, when the opportunity presented, and I could move out from the pharmacy element, and I never permanently moved out. And I literally only just had to, I served my time, so I concluded on my 3 years as a fitness to practice member of the General Pharmaceutical Council. So I sat on the fitness to practice panel, where you see the naughty pharmacists and you have to do the deeds. So I've never completely broken away from pharmacy, but I much preferred the governance side and the management side than I ever did the actual clinical side, which most pharmacists now would say the clinical side is the funnest part. And it probably is, because that's the professional part, if that makes sense. Business and profession. The profession part, for me, didn't actually attract me as much. Or the business side that attracted me more. Which is why I think I just gravitated that way because of that.